Hey folks, Jim McCallum here with ATMC and Our Hometown. We are here at the Brunswick County Courthouse. The music has begun. We're early on and we have some great interviews for you. First with Pat Sykes and then with some others. So I hope you could hear the music, which is terrific, and we go forward. Thanks so much. Okay, my guest is Pat Sykes. The folks in our community will know Pat as one of our county commissioners. Pat, thanks for being with us on this glorious day.
Thank you for having me on this glorious day. This is a wonderful historic event for our county.
Pat, your modesty will prevent you from saying this, but I'll say it anyway. You've been the moving force for the last 5 or 6 years to see this from its inception to this to the day of dedication. Tell us more about how you learned about it.
Well, several of us commissioners went to the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners Conference, and we all went to a booth that was Foundation Forward and picked up a package, and we all came back and said, oh, we need these. And then it began with the fundraising the money, because these monuments are paid with citizens' money, not taxpayers' money, and so they belong to the citizen, not to the government.
Right. So over the course of these 4 or 5 years, you've been involved in raising money, raising interest, involving children when we can, and ultimately getting the construction done.
Yes, that is correct.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
Let's talk about 5 or 10 years from now, or 20 or 30 years from now. What's going to be the effect on this community?
I hope that the generations to come will learn about these documents, and these documents will mean a lot to the citizens of our country. These documents are important for our freedom, and without them, we don't have freedom. So they are very important, and this generation needs to learn about them. Well,
you and those involved are leaving a legacy. A legacy is a critical word, and that's what you and others are doing here today. Well, this is a legacy for 50 or 100 or more years to come.
That is correct. And the thing is, it gives us our freedom to pray, our freedom to speak, our freedom to vote, our freedom to run for office. And we need that freedom to continue throughout all these years.
I hope to speak with Mr. Patterson, who began this all over the East, but you've worked with him extensively.
Yes, I have, and it's been a great experience, and it's made me have to study and learn more about documents that, our Bill of Rights, our Constitution, our Declaration of Independence. It's amazing what you learn if you sit down and just read.
And we take them so for granted occasionally. But they're here for school kids, for us adults, and for generations to come.
That's correct, and they match what's in Washington, D.C. So if you can't make that trip, you can come to your county courthouse and you can see them for yourself.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Well said, Pat Sykes. Thank you for all that you've done these recent years and all you do as our county commissioner.
Thank you. Thank you for being here today.
Very special guest is our Lieutenant Governor, Mark Robinson. Mr. Lieutenant Governor, thanks for being with us on this wonderful day.
It's an honor to be here on this occasion, especially what we're here for, and it's good to be talking to you.
I learned this morning that you've attended at least one or more of these events of the Charters of Freedom, and so you're not a stranger to the events that are about to occur here today.
Absolutely. We've attended one so far and hope to attend many more.
Let's talk about a legacy. Let's talk about the effects of these documents and what it might be like 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now when we're gone. There will be others that will be here.
Well, that's the reason why we think this is so important, because that's what this is all about. It's about helping young people to understand what they were bequeathed with these documents. To me, besides the Bible, these are the greatest documents ever written. They have established a constitutional republic that if we do the right thing and we have due diligence over it, it can last for many, many, many years to come. And so helping folks to understand that the rights that they have come from the Almighty and that those rights have been enshrined on these documents, and help them to understand how important that is the first step to making sure that freedom continues.
Let's talk about the sheer genius of our founding fathers. Absolutely beyond my imagination when I think about the fact that these documents are for the ages, literally.
Yes. Well, our founding fathers were very wise men. They knew that there were a myriad of things that this nation had to deal with in its infancy, but they understood that things needed to be done right and in order, and that they understood the steps that were going to be necessary in order for us to continue to perfect this nation. And those documents give us that opportunity to do that. Right. They give us the opportunity to be able to continue to perfect this nation in its pursuit of fairness and freedom for everyone.
So well said. Share with us just a couple of your comments for our crowd here today.
Well, basically what we want to say is just what we've said now, that we want young people to understand that their rights, number one, come from God. And number two, that these documents that we have are what form the basis for the blessed rights that we have in this nation.
Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, thanks for being with us, and Godspeed in the days and months to come.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here.
We're here with Mr. Vance Patterson, who I should say is the moving force behind the Charters of Freedom. Mr. Patterson, thank you so much for being here today.
You're welcome. What a beautiful day. I don't know who was in charge of the weather, but way to go.
You have a great story. You and your wife were in Washington, D.C., and you had a life-changing moment. Tell our viewers about it.
Well, we were up in Washington, D.C., and we decided to go over to the National Archives because we'd never seen the Constitution and Bill of Rights before. So we went over and we went into the rotunda, and I tell people I'll never forget the first time I saw the Declaration of the Independence. Something our founding fathers had actually penned. And then when I looked down and saw their signatures, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, Rutledge, and the others, I just got goosebumps. And then we moved over and saw the first page of the U.S. Constitution, and those three words, "We the people." Right. I actually got a lump in my throat. And I looked over, and Mary Jo has got tears in her eyes. It was really an emotional experience for us.
And that led to, let's talk about the power of an idea, because you had an idea at that time.
Well, it wasn't at that time. The following year, we were back in Burke County, and a thought came to me, what if I could duplicate that experience that we felt up there and bring it back to the citizens of Burke County? So I told Mary Jo about the idea, and we started working on a project. And the scope of the project was to design and build a replica of the Charters of Freedom as exhibited in the rotunda and put it in a central location in Burke County. It had to have high visibility, high foot traffic, and easy access for school children. Well, it took 2 years to get it done, but on July 2nd, 2014, we dedicated the first Charters of Freedom setting outside of Washington, D.C. in downtown Morganton on the old Burke County Courthouse Green.
And now, some 6 or 7 years later, there are quite a few, am I right?
This will be the 33rd one that we will have dedicated. We've got 6 more waiting for dedication. We've got them in North Carolina, South Carolina, Kentucky, Indiana, Virginia, Nebraska, South Dakota, and as far west as Carson City, Nevada. We've got 3 going to be dedicated the week of May 15th, and the first one in Alaska will be dedicated on July 4th.
And I dare say each one has been a personal project of yours. This is not a cookie-cutter endeavor.
No, it's been a real experience, and I love getting to the communities like this and seeing the reaction of the people. I can't tell you about it right now, but it's been amazing. It's been very rewarding for Mary Jo and I.
You and I spoke just a few minutes ago before this event. I shook your hand, and your hand is the hand of a working man. Mine are soft, yours are not.
Well, my dad always told me that when you shake somebody's hand, show them your personality. So I've taught my kids how to shake hands, and I'm proud of them, and my dad is proud of me.
Talk about 50 years from now. This courthouse will probably be here. These monuments will be here. Talk about the leaving of a legacy. A legacy is such an important word for me and for this.
Well, this is an education project, and these settings are designed to last 300 to 500 years. There's a time capsule in a vault in the back of this setting of the Constitution, and everybody here is hopefully signing the archival paper that'll go in there. That'll be opened on September 17th, 2087. That'll be the 300th anniversary of the U.S. Constitution. Wow. All of them in the United States will be open the same day, and it should be quite an experience. So when we get finished here today, we encourage the schools to bring their kids down here for annual field trips to learn a little about the Constitution, Bill of Rights, and our founding fathers and the history, and also about civics and government, because our founding fathers believed that you cannot control what you do not understand. So it's important to have that education going forward.
Believe you me, we'll be busting them in. Adults as well, of course.
Absolutely.
You have a great website. I hope our viewers will go on your website.
Yeah, that's very easy to remember. It's chartersoffreedom.com. Chartersoffreedom.com.
Mr. Vance Patterson, I cannot say in words how much we appreciate your idea that began 5, 6, 7 years ago, which led to our being here today. It's a very special day.
You're welcome. Just make sure they use it after we leave. Thank you.
Thanks, and God bless.
Oh, there was a big need for better internet in the area. We were running on 6 megs, and we sell real estate. The kids were doing virtual school, and basically to connect with the outside world, you really needed to be a part of the internet, and so everybody took turns. It's great that a local company like Atlantic Telephone come out and service the rural community. Normally they've been closer into the suburbs, but to see them stretch out and have confidence in the community and provide us with what we need is really an excellent thing that we're all very appreciative for.
Thank you all. Thank you for that warm welcome. It's an honor to be here. I told this young lady I wouldn't talk long, and I'm not going to speak long because it's not going to take me long for what I have to say. For those of you all who have ever heard me speak, you know that I always start off every speech by thanking my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for everything that he's done for me, for everything that he's done for this nation. There's no better setting to do that than on this day. Behind me represents what this nation is all about. Let me tell you what I mean by that based on what's going on right now in this nation. Right now we have people in this nation that see fit to go out into the streets and destroy property to try to get their point across. We see people that see fit to try to subvert our voting rights, to try to get certain agendas pushed. We see people that are trying to go to Washington, D.C. to try to make moves that are unseemly in order to push their agendas. Those folks have forgotten something. They have forgotten about the documents behind us. That is how this nation is supposed to operate. You know, those of you all out there, and I'm pointing this directly at men right now, you'll know what I'm talking about. You know, you buy that toy, you open it up on Christmas, you start putting it together, you get halfway through it, and find out you have completed total chaos. You have no idea what you're doing. And then your wife walks into the room and asks you a simple question. A simple question. Did you read the directions? Folks, it is time for people in this nation to get back to reading the directions. The direction starts with our Word of God and trickle down to our founding documents. You know, people like to say, some folks like to say this is not a Christian nation anymore. If you're living in this nation and you're living under the blessing of this nation, guess what? The reason why this nation is what it is and is as blessed as it is not because Americans are that good, it's because God has been that good to us. And the reason why he has been, because Christians have fallen down on their knees. And not just us, all the way back to our inception. When our founders got stuck writing that Constitution in Philadelphia, they didn't walk out of that hall and go search for the answer in some book somewhere written by man. They didn't go ask some self-help guru. They called a break to the action. They crossed the street and went to a church. They fell down on their knees and asked the Almighty for the wisdom to finish that document. And in that document, we see common sense. We see decency. We see fairness in action. So now, folks, it's time for us to turn back to the instructions that God has given us. He gave us his word, and his word gave us our Constitution and our founding documents. It's time for us to return to those things. It's time for us to help young people to understand the reason why you have your freedom is because God gave you your freedom. And the reason why your freedom has been protected and the reason why you live in the greatest nation on earth is because we have founding documents that are based on God's word. So today, we stand here in front of this monument. Let us pray that these charters of freedom are going to be found in every corner of this nation. Now is the time, folks, for us to end the chaos. The only way we're going to end the chaos is if we pull out those instructions. The ones that should always be front and center. Use those instructions to continue our freedom. Now, I was just asked over there, why am I here? That's the reason why I'm here, folks. It's the reason why I'm here. Because we need to pass on to our future generations the same thing the founders passed on to us. And what was that? A nation that can continue to perfect itself. I can't understand for the life of me why people are complaining about this nation. I can't understand it. I don't see massive amounts of people on our border going the other way. I don't see massive amounts of people at the ports clamoring on the ships to leave. I see people coming here. And why are they coming here? Because this is the last bastion left on earth where freedom is paramount. Where freedom and equality is paramount. And here's the thing, it always has been. Every issue this nation has ever had, because of our belief in God and because of the words enshrined in those documents, has always been questioned, always been fought against, and eventually has been supplanted. Slavery was ended because of it. Jim Crow was ended because of it. Our unfair treatment of women was supplanted because of it. To live up to those documents means to live up to the will of God. So we have to continue that. And that's what these charters of freedom do. So guys, when you leave here today, make sure you tell somebody about this place. And not only that, don't make this the last time you visit. Come down here often, renew your spirit, and bring somebody with you, and tell them about the good news. We don't have to live in chaos, because we have a set of instructions that will allow us to keep this constitutional republic strong and free for many, many generations to come. God bless you all. God bless the great state of North Carolina, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I grew up in church, and I was taught that when the sermon is given, you simply send the collection plates around. The sermon has been given, and my friends over here, they were kind of pitying me for having to follow the pastor. But in all seriousness, Lieutenant Governor Robinson, I will say that is not the first time I've heard you speak, and every time I hear you speak, I'm more inspired to do what it is we do every day. As we gathered here on this momentous occasion, I can't help but reminisce back to the days of when I was teaching history, teaching U.S. history as a matter of fact, and some of the civics classes that I taught. Teaching students about the documents that are being placed here today was always a time that I look forward to. I would always tell them that these documents are the documents that distinguish us and put us head and shoulders above the rest of the world. I can remember reading them, the phrases that I'm sure many of us here are familiar with. Phrases such as, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union. Phrases such as those. Make sure that they were familiar with and understand the background and meaning behind those phrases and those documents. These documents are the bedrock of our country, our state, and our county. Having these charters of freedom placed here on these honorable grounds where these words are upheld each day makes me proud to be a citizen of these United States, but especially Brunswick County. Our students, our school students now have access to closely and tangibly examine these documents for themselves, in addition to being part of their curriculum. As an old history teacher, I cannot help but rely and fall back on these documents, not only in my work as superintendent, but my life as a person and a citizen of these United States. So I just like to simply say that I am grateful for the foresight of the commissioners here in Brunswick County, and especially Ms. Pat Sykes, for leading this initiative to have our country's founding documents on full display. And I will definitely make it my business to ensure that our students of Brunswick County come to this place to see the documents that guide their lives. Thank you so much.
As I bring up my written speech. Appreciate it, Marty. You'll see why in a minute, though. I was going to have this impassioned, motivational speech. You're going to walk through fire. But then Pat told me I was speaking after Lieutenant Governor Robinson, who, when God was handing out passion, got a fast pass. You're inspirational, Lieutenant Governor. Every time I hear you speak, from that first YouTube speech at Greensboro City Council to today, every time, I mean it. We're lucky to have you. So instead of that motivational, inspirational speech, I'm going to give you some facts about the Constitution that maybe you don't know. Some of them you do. The Constitution is 4,400 words. That's it, 4,400 words. It's both the oldest and shortest written constitution of any major government in the entire world. When the Constitution was signed, the U.S. population stood at 4 million people. To give you a reference point today, there's 4 million people that drive through the Leland Chick-fil-A right now. Hold on, don't. I got some more stuff. In March of 1788, a popular election was held in Rhode Island. It was to determine the ratification status of the new Constitution. Now listen to this. The vote was 237 in favor of ratifying and 2,945 opposed to ratifying the Constitution. And y'all think we live in a divisive political climate? There was a proposal at the Constitutional Convention to limit the standing army for the United States at 5,000 men. And George Washington, I love his sarcastic humor because I'm a little sarcastic, you don't know me. Washington sarcastically agreed with this proposal as long as there was a stipulation added to the Constitution that said no invading army can have more than 3,000 men. These are all true, I'm telling you. Benjamin Franklin, this is an interesting fact, Benjamin Franklin made a suggestion at the Constitutional Convention that the session be opened with a prayer. The delegates refused to accept the motion, stating that there was not enough money to hire a chaplain. Now, I'm a fiscal conservative, but I'm not dying on that mountain. Our nation was founded and formed based on the concepts of freedom, equality, and justice. Phrases like due process, equal rights, life, and liberty, those are the very phrases that continue to define us as American citizens. Although we may not always agree, we're always a nation that's united by these principles, by these documents, these replica documents that are behind me. And they guarantee our right to that very due process, to our right to life and liberty, and our rights to endeavor for that life of pursuit of happiness. It's a great day for all of us, all the citizens here in Brunswick County. I want to commend Commissioner Sykes for her hard work in spearheading this effort. It would not have happened without you, and thank you, Pat, for doing this for our community. These documents will forever be here in front of our Justice Center here in Brunswick County, as they should be, and they're a reminder of the greatness of this nation and the foundation upon which it was created. I urge all of you, whether you are here or whether you are listening at home or on Facebook, I urge all of you to come here. Take the time to read these documents. I suggest that it will serve to remind you of the greatness that is this nation. But more importantly, it will remind you of the greatness that are the people of this nation, that make up this great nation, and that call themselves Americans. I'll leave you with this. May God continue to bless the greatest nation the world has ever seen. Thank you.
Article 1 defines the legislative branch, composed of the House of Representatives and the Senate. It defines their powers and responsibilities. Article 2 defines the executive branch, the qualifications for president and vice president, their powers, responsibilities, and means of removal from office. Article 3 sets up the judicial branch, the Supreme Court and lower court system. It protects the right of trial by jury and defines treason. Article 4 gives the states the right to make and carry out their own laws related to the people and problems of their state, so long as those laws do not conflict with the United States Constitution. Article 5 outlines the process of amending the United States Constitution. Article 6 sets the status of the United States Constitution as the supreme law of the land, to which all leaders, including the executive, legislative, and judicial, must be loyal. Article 7 addresses the ratification, declares that the United States Constitution should take effect if 9 of 13 states ratified. Children, citizens, veterans, and all of Brunswick County, I give you your charters of freedom.
thanks for being with us on this very special day. If you have an item of interest for our show, let us know at atmctv.com. Again, thanks for being with us. We'll see you again on Our Hometown.